how to magnetize clients through epic alignment. I'm just gonna give everybody a couple moments to hop on, but if you want to let me know where you're joining from, I would love to hear about it. I'm so excited for this topic because once you start to realize that manifestation is really about who you are being, what you believe, how you're showing up. And once you really lock those things in and you embody that version of yourself that has the clients that you want, that has the business that you want, things get to flow with so much more ease and just so much more flow. It stops feeling like such a struggle because you've developed the practices and the beliefs that are going to allow you to take your business where you want to go. And it's just so important because so many of us spend so much time thinking about oh, I need to learn this strategy, or downloading another freebie or another course or listening to a podcast. And when we are trying all these things, we kind of get into this overwhelmed state because we're oh my goodness, I'm trying all these things, it feels like nothing is working, or maybe this worked a little bit, but it felt like I had to put in so much effort to get those results, and then you get really burnt out on that, and then you just kind of want to throw the towel in and hi, welcome. And then it's not great to try and create a business from that state of overwhelm and burnout. And I think so many of us are conditioned into thinking that to build success in your business, all you have to do is hustle really hard. I know that this is what I believed. When I first started my photography business 10 years ago, I literally thought to myself, I was oh, all you have to do is work really hard and ultimately the success will come. And so I applied that principle and I did work really hard, and yes, I got some level of success, but I also really hit this point where I just hit a wall, and I just, yeah, 100%. So many of us have this belief, and it is just holding us back, because then also when things are easy, we question it. We're oh my God, that was too easy. Why did that happen? And then we manifest ourselves out of it because we're it can't be that easy. So we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot both ways. But when I first was running my photography business almost 10 years ago now, I was working so hard, and I just hit this wall, and I was at this point where I was if this is what it takes to have a successful business, I don't want to do it. I don't think I can keep this up. This is not sustainable. And from every rock bottom, I think there's always a lesson. There's always a reason why you hit that point, and you have to realize if you want to be sustainable in business, you can't let that be the point that you quit. You have to be okay, there has to be a better way of doing this. There's other people out there who have done it. I'm gonna figure out how to get to that point. So for everyone who's just joined, if you don't know me, I'm Kim, and I am a mindset coach and a rapid transformational therapy practitioner, as well as a first-year psychology student. And I work with female entrepreneurs to unblock what's holding them back from success using the power of their subconscious mind. And I give them the tools they need to create success with ease and flow and without the hustle, because I was saying before, that hustle mentality, it's not serving anyone. That was the old way of doing things. We're moving into the age of Aquarius. We're moving into a new way of doing things. We are creating our reality from what we believe and who we are being. And when you get the inner world right, the outside matches up to meet it. So if you're here today, you really want to learn how to get out of self-sabotage, get out of that procrastination, get off that hamster wheel of the hustle mode and create success in your business and get clients just from your own alignment and from showing up as that successful version of that CEO. Because I was saying, success is really created from the inside out. When we feel and believe something inside, then that's when we get to see it in our external reality, instead of thinking that we need to go out there and work really hard and do all the things and then we're going to feel like that successful version of us. That's what we were taught, and that's completely backwards. You have to create it from the inside out. So today I'm going to really explain to you how we do that, how we embody this on a subconscious level, and some of the tools that you need to get started with manifesting clients right now, because my approach to doing it is rooted in a little bit of the woo and also in the work. I approach manifestation from a really practical perspective of rewiring your mindset and your self-worth and your beliefs through also taking aligned action and listening to your intuition and that inner guidance and what you feel guided to do, and the instructions that you get from the universe. And the alchemy of those two things together creates really magical results. So I was talking about this a little bit before, but the reason that I'm like qualified to talk about this is because of hitting that burnout point myself. Like, I was working really, really hard, and I got so burnt out on running a business that I basically gave up. And at that point in time, I was like, I'm just going to move to Australia. I was living in Canada at the time. So I moved to Australia. Along the way, I sort of forgot about my manifestation practice. I forgot what I knew about like the law of attraction. I was just sort of like living my life, and kind of got that call again where I was like, I don't feel fulfilled in what I'm doing. I feel like I need to live in my purpose, work in my alignment. I'm going to start my business again. And at that point in time, I was like, I'm going to really do it right though. Like, I'm going to learn the mindset that I need to create the success that I want. I'm not going to do this the way that I did before. And so the things that I learned along the way is I started to learn about your subconscious reprogramming, and that was the thing that changed absolutely everything for me. Because when I changed my subconscious programming, it was like the results changed overnight. It was like I was able to not even really be doing that much outwardly different, but I was getting completely different results. I was working through beliefs around like what it meant to be successful doing something that you loved, and like the fact that it had to be hard to make money, or like my beliefs around money. And once I worked through those, it was like everything changed almost overnight. And that's when I was so blown away, and I started to realize that your success is really created from the inside out, and the universe is just responding to like what you believe and like how you're showing up. And so when I was able to change those things on a subconscious level, everything changed really quickly. And that was kind of my aha moment where I was like, oh, this is the part that I'm missing in manifesting people into my business, is my beliefs weren't on board with what I wanted to do. But when I changed those beliefs so that they were in alignment with what I wanted to create, then the action that I took had a massive reaction. It was like I was able to get the results that I wanted with way less effort. And in the past, I really dealt with like having low self-worth, like a lot of anxiety, depression, and through my process of healing my subconscious, I worked through these things. And it was the thing that really blew me away, is your mind always has a reason for doing what it's doing. And when you want to create a new result, you need to understand like why your mind is doing the things that it thinks are right for you. And so the key part of like learning how to manifest is you need to work on your self-worth. You need to work on your limiting beliefs. And once you get those things in accordance to what you're trying to create, everything is going to flow through so much easier. Like once you do the programming around your subconscious, around your lack of confidence, like your lack of self-worth, the money blocks that you have, it's going to change everything for you in your business. Like when I look at where I was like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 2 years ago, it's like everything was able to shift because I shifted my subconscious beliefs, and that's when things started to really flow in my business with a whole lot more ease. Now I've created a business where like I work 4 hours a day, I'm able to study full time, I'm making like money, I'm working with incredible clients, and I just want to remind you that no matter where you are right now, you can also have the same thing. You can have whatever you want as long as you believe in it. So the first thing I'm going to be talking to you a bit about is my unique process for manifestation. So when you want to intentionally create things in your life, it starts with having a vision for what you're looking at. Like imagine if you get in the car and you're going on a road trip and you have the GPS in front of you, but instead of putting in like a specific location, you're just like, let's just see where we end up, and you start driving your car, and a couple of hours later, yeah, you might get somewhere, but is that going to be the place that you wanted to go? And it's the same when you're manifesting your clients. You need to decide, where do you want to go with this? How many people do you want to work with? How much money do you want to make? A lot of us get scared to put like a specific number out there because we're scared that if we ask for it, we won't get it. And when we don't get it, we're going to be disappointed. So basically, you're just trying to protect yourself from disappointment because on some level, you don't believe you're worthy of having what you want. Because if you believed you were worthy of having it, you would be already doing the things that you need to do to get there. And if that's you, no stress. Everyone has this at some point in some degree. And spoiler alert, the higher you go or the more levels you go up, there's always going to be some level level of you that you need to clear out the beliefs around what it means, hi lovely, for you to have those things. So the first step with manifesting is always like, get clear on where you want to go. How many clients do you want to work with? How much money do you want to make? How many hours do you want to work? What product suite do you want to have? How do you want to help people? Do you want it to be high ticket? Do you want it to be low ticket? And also, a lot of mindset comes into the way you price your product suite, because a lot of us think that it's going to be easier to have a low cost product and sell a lot of them, when the reality is it's the same amount of work to sell anything to anyone. So if you are starting off in the beginning, like working one-to-one with people at like a higher ticket is probably going to be a lot easier to sell than it is to sell like $10,000 worth of like a low ticket item. And I know at the beginning of my business journey, I totally did not believe in that. I was like, what do you mean it's easier to sell like a $3,000 package than it is to sell like a $50 one? But the way that sales work is it all comes down to your mindset. Like, you need to believe in the value and be able to communicate the value of what you have. And honestly, there is clients and purchasers at every single price point level. So it really comes down to you to decide, how much money do I want to make? Who do I want to sell it to? How many of them do I want to sell? And this is why you need to have that clarity and that vision for your business, because otherwise, how are you going to get there if you don't know? Say, so many of us have this goal where we're like, I want to make $10,000 a month. Amazing. But then they go out there and they have like a $97 product, and you're like, you're gonna have to sell a lot of those to make that $10,000 goal. And it's not saying that you can't do it, but you just have to look at your goals and look at the way that you're showing up and how you're pricing and see if it makes sense. Because especially in the beginning, like, you can make a lot of money with a small Instagram following. You don't need to have 20,000 followers, but you need to be able to convert those people. So that's why, especially in the beginning, when you're starting out, it's a really good idea to have like a higher cost product, whether that's like coaching or a higher cost service. Most of my clients are coaches, so that's why I'm kind of focusing on that. If you only need to sell like 5 spots instead of needing to sell 10,000 of a smaller product. So it ends up being a lot less work for you. And the rate that we manifest things is how natural it feels to us. So if it feels totally out of left field for you to make 10,000 sales in a month, it's probably going to take you a little bit longer, because you're going to have to work through those beliefs. You're going to have to work through that programming. There might be a few things on the physical plane that you need to get in order. Like, if you don't have 10,000 people in your audience, it's going to be hard to sell 10,000 of something. So this is why it's so important when we're manifesting our clients, our income, our success in our business. We need to get clear on what that looks like, and more clear than feels comfortable, because a lot of the time I'll ask people and they'll be like, oh, I just want to make more money. And I'm like, how much money is more money? The universe cannot give it to you. Your subconscious can't bring you there unless you have a defined outcome. It's like if you go to the airport and you're like, take me anywhere. Yeah, you might get somewhere. Is it where you want to go? Possibly not. So it's the same when you're manifesting. It always starts with the vision. It starts where do you want to go? And it's the same with being an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is about your vision for what you want to create. What are you being called to give to this world? How are you being called to serve? What's the vision for that? What do you need to be supported? So that's why we take almost like a ridiculously detailed approach to really diving into the nitty-gritty of what exactly do you want to create? How many people do you want to work with? What's your brand message? All of these things go into magnetizing those clients to you. And the really important thing about this is because we are hardwired to seek the brain is hardwired to go to what you're focusing on, because your brain is picking up 2 million bits of data every second, but your conscious mind can only process 126 bits of data. So 2 million bits of data, your brain can only focus on 126 of them. So the reticular activating system is what shows your mind what's important to you, and it does this based on what you've told it that you want to focus on, which brings me back to that clarity that we were I was like nailing you with that point, because when you tell your mind what you want to focus on, your mind is like a goal seeking machine. It goes towards what you focus on. So if you're just focusing on like, I don't want to be broke, or like, I'm scared of what people will think of me, which is all things that I've worried about at some point in time too. Like, I'm not saying that it's bad or wrong to have those fears, but it's just realizing that if you want to create a successful, thriving business, you're going to have to move through those, because those aren't serving you and they're not in alignment with the version of you that you're trying to create. So the reason that we have these programs is because like there's so much going on, and your brain needs to decide what to focus on. It needs to decide on like what's important. And so the way that you tell it's what's important is what you decide to focus on. And when you tell your mind that something's important to you, then it's going to bring you towards it. And it's like manifesting in its most basic example. So know where you want to go, focus on that, and focus on what you want, not what you don't want. And also, the next step in manifesting is getting clear on the feelings that you think you will have when you have that thing. So a lot of the time, like, what's the reason you want to manifest it? Because of how you think it's going to make you feel. And like, let's just break this down. Say you're like, okay, I want 10 clients a month. Why do you want those 10 clients? So that I can make this much money and feel like I'm making an impact. Okay, you want to feel like you're making an impact. Why do you want the money? You want the money so that you can feel free, so you can feel secure, so you can feel supported. These are all feelings. The reason you want something is because how you think it's going to make you feel. So when you want to start manifesting it in and getting into alignment with it, you need to start feeling those feelings right now. You need to start feeling the feelings as if you already have it. And normal manifestation rhetoric is kind of like, oh, like, act as if, and I don't really buy into that, but when they say act as if, I'm like, okay, embody the version of yourself that has it. Embodiment instead of acting. We're not acting, like, this is real life. So you need to embody the version of you that has it by feeling those feelings. And I would always say, like, choose like 2 to 3 feelings that you can really connect with, and start like making it a priority every morning when you get up to start feeling those feelings straight away. And if you're in a situation that feels super far off from that, I'm pretty sure as a human going through your human experience, you felt that feeling at least once in your life. So think back to the time that you felt it. Remember that memory. Get it in your body. Really focus on feeling those feelings. And when you take action from that place, you're already in vibrational alignment with it because you feel like it already. And when you're like an energetic match for it, that's when the thing can come into your reality. And it's always just the process of like shifting back to that feeling, Like, you're a human, so you're not going to stay in like that aligned place all the time unless you're like enlightened, which most of us are not, and that's totally fine. But it's just always, the work is always going to be shifting back to that place. Am I feeling weird and scared and like afraid because I think the things aren't going to work? Okay, how can I shift back into that feeling of feeling free, feeling abundant? Like, that is the work behind manifestation that you need to do before you ever worry about like what you're doing on the physical plane. And let me just check where I am at in my notes. Yes, okay, bringing it back to the subconscious level. So say you're like focusing on what you want and you are trying to feel the feelings, but there's just something that keeps knocking you back, and you're like, you know what, no matter how hard I try, I just really feel like I can't get into the feeling of feeling like this thing is possible for me. So when that's what's going on, or we are in a version of reality where we're like, well, I want it to be like this, but I feel like I'm not able to get that, and it just feels completely unavailable to me, the next thing you need to work on is your subconscious limiting beliefs. All of us have them. Like, you go through life kind of, especially between the ages of 0 to 7 is when the subconscious gets programmed, and from that programming we start to develop our beliefs about like who we are, what our worth is, what we believe is possible for us, whether we believe we're good enough, whether we believe that we are going to get rejected from doing something, or like if us acting in a certain way is going to get us like rejected from other people. We all are getting programmed with that between the ages of 0 to 7. And then after that, those beliefs basically form our belief system. So when you want to manifest more money, but you have belief systems that are saying like money is bad, money doesn't grow on trees, I have to work really hard for money, then you're going to be subconsciously blocking yourself. And the way that I approach this that's totally different from how most people approach it is most people are trying to approach this on a conscious level. They are like, okay, well, like journal on it or like think about it. And it's like, yes, that's great for forming a basic awareness. But the reality is most of us are not aware of what's going on in our subconscious mind. Just because it's just that, it's subconscious, it's under the surface, but that's the programming that is playing out your life. It basically acts like your software programming, and it stays how it is until something comes along to change it. And we can kind of see how working in your conscious mind, we think that we're making decisions, we think that we're like choosing what we want to do, we think that we're like choosing our actions, but really the conscious mind only plays like 5% in the role of how we are acting and showing up, because our subconscious actually controls 95% of it. So you can start to see how if you have a subconscious belief about what it means to make a lot of money, and then your conscious mind thinks, oh, I would really like to have a $10,000 month, that subconscious is going to be blocking it. It's not going to let you have it. Even if you work really, really hard, you might get it, and then you'll like manifest that situation right out of your life because your subconscious has decided for some reason it's bad to have that amount of money, it's unsafe, you might get rejected, and those survival instincts are really, really strong. So when I work with my clients, we always have to find out on a subconscious level, where are they holding themselves back? Like I sort of briefly mentioned before, like your self-worth and your beliefs are what go into creating your reality. So we need to also work on your self-worth in tandem with this, because the 3 beliefs that are blocking everyone on some level, we all have some kind of a collection of these going on in different areas of our life, are I'm not enough, what I want isn't available to me, and I'm different and I can't connect, or if I have that thing, then I will be rejected by people. So you can start to see how if you have these beliefs running in the background, then that's going to block you from taking the action and believing in what you actually need to go out there and do. And most of us have beliefs around not being good enough. So if you don't feel worthy and deserving of manifesting something into your life, then hi lovely, you're not going to manifest it in, or if you do manifest it in, you'll have it for a second and then you will self-sabotage and get rid of it quite quickly. And I'm sure all of us can think of times where we've like manifested something in, we were super excited about it, and then very quickly it got taken away and we're like, what happened? And usually the case is that our self-worth wasn't in alignment with having that thing, and so it felt unfamiliar to us to have it, so we got rid of it. So when you want to create a new version of your reality and be able to show up in alignment at that like embodied version of yourself that has the clients, that has the success, that has the money, you need to rewire your subconscious limiting beliefs around it. There's just no way around it. You can try and do it with your conscious mind, but the thing working with the conscious mind is it's like a super slow process and you don't actually know what's going on with your subconscious. Whereas when you start to work on a subconscious level with your beliefs, it's like you can see a huge shift the next day. That's what happened to me when I first did my session working on my subconscious beliefs. It was like the next day, like life was showing up for me differently. And that's why it was such an aha moment for me, where I was like, oh, it's your subconscious creating this reality. And that's why I'm so passionate about sharing it with other people, because I think this, like, the hustle is not integral to your success. And I think the sooner we're able to drop that mentality, the more successful people we're going to have out there. And I just truly believe that the world needs more aligned female entrepreneurs who are lit up doing what they love. But to get there, they need to remove those beliefs telling them that they can't get there. And so let me just check my notes. A little bit more on raising your self-worth. So we've already spoken about how like you need to get clear about where you want to go. You need to get clear on what that looks like, what your vision is for it. You need to unblock your limiting beliefs on a subconscious level. And then you also need to raise your self-worth, because like I was saying before, your self-worth is one of the most important parts of learning to manifest effectively. And I see so many clients of mine coming to me and they're like, I just don't feel like I'm enough. And so because of this, they're like, I need to hustle really hard. They feel like they can't rest. They feel like they have to just keep going and going to prove that they're somehow worthy. And it's not true, because you're already worthy and deserving of everything that you want right now. There might be a few things you need to do to get there, but you're already worthy and deserving of having them. And sorry, I lost my place for a second. I'm just gonna take a sip of water. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat. Oh, this is where I was going with that. Okay. Self-worth is really, it gets programmed into us from when we're a child, because when you're a child, you see things in absolutes. Like, say something happens where your parents don't pay attention to you in the way that you think you want it, and you as a child, you take that to mean that, like, you're not enough. Like, something about you is not enough. You can't rationalize this ideal of my parents are busy because they're trying to work and provide for me, and that, like, it actually means that they love me because they're going to work and they're trying to create a good life for me. You as a child is just like, my mom is not paying attention to me, why does she not love me? And then this kind of encodes and forms like your worthiness. Like, no child is born believing that they're not enough, but things happen along the way where they start to internalize this message about them, and because then they believe this, they start to see more and more evidence of that, and then it like shows up as you and as an adult. I have so many clients that I work with who have depression, and when we go in there and find out what's going on, it's because, like, at some point they heard their parents be like, I'm not sure if we're ready to have a child, or like, maybe I made a mistake in coming here. And it's really incredible to understand that it's like our belief system that we have and our worthiness that we have now, it's founded in some things that we started to believe about ourselves as a child. It's not actually founded in anything that's true or like relevant to the present day. And the incredible thing is, with the subconscious reprogramming, you can completely rewire that. And when you rewire that, it's like, oh my God, the world had better watch out. Because when you start to rewire that for yourself, hi, how are you? Your whole reality shifts. That's why it's always the first thing I work on with my coaching clients is like the belief that you're not enough, because everyone on some level is acting out that belief system, the belief that we're not enough, and it's making us self-sabotage. It's what makes people procrastinate. It's what makes them scared to really go for what they want, because they're scared that they're not enough to have what they want, or even if they get close to it, they still feel like they need to get more. Like, I work with so many clients who, like, they're in a place that most, like, you would think they would be happy and feel good about it, but they're always like, no, I need to go further, I need to go further. And you see this with so many celebrities, like even Marilyn Monroe. She's like, well, I need the whole world to love me, because like no one actually does. Like, no one on an individual felt like gave her that love that she felt like she needed. So she was like, I need the whole world to love me. And it's just like a manifestation of that feeling that you're not enough. And so the next step in magnetizing your dream clients through epic alignment is up-leveling your money story. Most of us have stories around money and conditioning around money from a really young age. And when you start to unblock this, it's like money starts to show up for you in a completely different way. I did a session with one of my clients, and we checked in a month later, and I was like, how are you doing? And she's like, I literally doubled my income in the last month. And her story was incredible, because it was like the belief that we needed to work through was she had some past life stuff around. In a past life, she was a homeless man, and she was still reenacting that like scarcity mindset where like, oh, even if I need to work really hard just to like provide survival for myself, like this homeless man version of her in her past life, the memory that came up was like, if I don't keep constantly being on this wheel of working and working and working, then everything's going to get taken away. Like, they're really stuck in like that survival mentality. And also just going back to memories that she had from a child and just not feeling like she was enough, not feeling like she was deserving or worthy of having the success that she wanted. And it's interesting because none of those you would think directly have anything to do with money. But once she released those beliefs, she doubled her income in a month. So it just really shows you how like money is responding to like what you believe and how you feel. It's not like money comes to you through the universe, and it comes through your clients, but ultimately the universe is your bank, and that frequency of money is floating around us at all times. So when you can start to tap into it and rewire your beliefs around how money gets to show up for you, that's when it can show up in a completely different way. And so that's why I think it's really critical to do the work around, like, what are the money stories that you're still holding on to from childhood? Most of us grow up learning about money and the concept of it from our parents. So looking at your parents' relationship to money, like, what are the things that you heard said over and over again? Was it like, oh, we'll never have enough, or like money doesn't grow on trees, or like rich people are evil? I had a lot of stories that I needed to rewire around money, and believing that if I had a lot of money, I would never be able to trust people, because you would never know if they genuinely wanted to be your friend or they just wanted you for the money that you had. And once I started to change these stories around money, my business just kept making more and more. So a lot of the stuff that people teach you about, like managing your money and being on a budget, it involves a certain amount of willpower. And then when you're not matching up to that budget, or you're not able to stay within it, then you make yourself feel really bad, and you feel like this shame and this guilt. But realizing that our money patterns, they're not from a lack of willpower. Your money patterns and the way you spend money and that patterning, it's coming from your subconscious programming. So trying to address it by just coming at it with more willpower or more motivation is never going to be the thing that fixes it. You need to change what you believe, and then you see a change in your reality, and that can't be created through a budget. Not like I'm saying that budgets are like not worth using, but you need to address why you're doing the things that you're doing first, and then you'll understand how to like act in accordance with the version of you that has the money that you want. So I just wanted to check in and see, what do we think about that? Just wanted to make sure I'm on track with my notes. Do we have any questions on that, or let me know any of your thoughts? What are some other stories about money that people have? Ooh, this is a good question. Okay, some of the conditioning that I work with people around money is, I have to work really hard to make money. There's never going to be enough. Like, I need to be in this scarcity mindset of it, because on some level I believe that I'm not enough, and if I'm not enough, then how am I going to attract enough money in to take care of me? And the really interesting thing about money beliefs is a lot of it has to do with your self-worth, and it becomes like, because money is like safety and security and freedom. And if you don't believe that you're worthy enough of having safety and security, well, then you're not going to see that reflected to you in your bank account. And it's really interesting with money is because, like, it doesn't matter actually the number of money you make, because people have money fears at every income level. I have worked with people who are like millionaires. I've worked with people who make like $100,000 I work like a month, like, and they still have fear around money. So realizing that having more money is not going to take away your fear around money or your stress around money. It doesn't matter how much money you make. And I know it sounds really wild, but it's like you can have like massive stress and anxiety around money at any level of income. So this is why it's really important to heal that relationship, and heal that relationship with your self-worth as well. So I just wanted to check in with everyone and see how they're feeling. Like, is this something that you feel like you need help with? Is this like, have I said something that feels like it's kind of hitting the mark home, where you're like, oh, like, I didn't realize that this is how maybe I'm blocking myself from getting what I want. And as always, I like to give everyone a next step in how they can start to work like with this, because I've given you a lot of info just now, but information without like action isn't really worth anything. Like, it's one thing for me to tell you, oh, you just need to reprogram your subconscious, but it's like the difference between like learning to surf being in the ocean with a surfing instructor versus like trying to learn how to surf from a book. So if you are feeling like this is something you need help with, I would love to invite you to join 90-Day Alignment Accelerator. This program really takes you from feeling like stuck and like you're in hustle mode to creating ease and flow and alignment and abundance in your business through healing your self-worth, up-leveling your self-confidence, and working on your money mindset. So You can join via the link in my bio, or if you have any questions, as always, please send me a DM and I'm happy to chat. There is payment plans available as always, and I just want to leave you with the message that I believe in you, and I fully believe that you can create anything that you want to in this life, and the only thing stopping you is your mindset and your beliefs around what you want to create, because success is really 80% mindset and 20% action. So when you get your mind in the right place to create that success, the action that you take just has a massive reaction. So do we have any questions? I'm just gonna grab some water. And also, if you want to hop on a call to chat about this, we can also do that as well. I just always want it to be an empowering decision for people, and no questions, amazing. So I think I will hop off for now, but of course, if you want to know any more about the program, or hop on a call and we can talk about if it's the right fit for you. And if not, I'm gonna say bye for now. Thank you so much for staying till the end.